And now we are live on Facebook.
Hello.
Almost live on Facebook, but it's going. So, okay, welcome to another artist conversation. Tonight we have Phaedra, and let's see, Phaedra. It's Phaedra only. You don't have a special Etsy name with it, right?
Just Phaedra Odelle Collage.
Collages. Okay, that's what it was. Okay.
Collage.
So, can you please introduce yourself and explain all the different types of ways that you're an artist to all the people who have never met you before?
All the ways I'm an artist. But I'm
all of
the ways. Well, I focus on collage art. I guess you'd call it analog collage art. I'm busy cutting and pasting most of my time. And I don't, so since it's all analog collage, I don't digitally manipulate anything. I don't, a lot of people say, where do you get your images online and how, you resized it so perfectly. I don't do that. I prefer the found object method of collaging. So it's the kind of the thrill of the hunt of scouring through mounds of paper. I have boxes of paper of images that I've torn out of magazines and encyclopedias, old books, and just, it's finding that thing that fits in the hand or in a, just, whatever fits that makes it right is kind of like a eureka moment for me. And it not only has to fit in that size aspect, but also fitting with the theme of the piece. It has to make sense with the story that I'm creating for a lot of my bigger pieces. And yeah, I think, isn't that the only way I'm an artist now?
Well, no, because like people like I'm still trying to figure out what artist means to me, because like I feel like, most artists were kind of like it's like we are parallel pieces, like we're parallel universe.
Oh, we've glitched again.
I mean, like, one truth is that you are like, so now I've started. Oh, I'm sorry. I tried to turn everything off. I don't know what's happening.
Sorry, it's okay.
Maybe it's the light.
It's my light.
So, but what I wanted to touch on is that the word collage, like if somebody like heard that out of nowhere, what does collage like mean? And when you're talking about that you're an analog collage artist, like I realize that that means everything is put together, but then the opposite, or what are other collages that exist?
Digital collage, where someone will go into Photoshop and then do all the cutting and resizing and manipulating images that they found online or scanned in to the computer. And it's not that I'm opposed to that. I will play with that eventually, and I just haven't done it as, and I have presented it as my form of collage. And other mixed media collage that I've done with dried flowers, getting trinkets from antique stores, lockets, and breaking mirrors and mosaicing mirrors and tiles, and then collaging on top of that, like in shadow boxes. And so that's another form of collage. I did that for 4 pieces where I found in antique stores 4 photographs of women from the 1920s and young women, and it's just that beautiful soft what is the word, that brown they weren't like quite color photos, very
tone.
yeah And so I just kind of meditated on these women and then created mosaics within shadow boxes that kind of told a story and homage to this person I'm looking at. And clearly I'm like, making it up that this one like dried lilacs and, skeleton keys, and then wrapping wire like a vine to like kind of connect things together. But they didn't sell ever. People loved them. They loved them, thought they were like, this is so unique. This is so beautiful what you've done. Will you do my grandmother? At the time, I wasn't accepting commissions or, in that way where I felt comfortable, like, oh, I'm going to do this thing for your grandmother. But because people didn't know the woman in the photograph that I had used for each of those, nobody wanted to have that person on their wall. And a lot of people said that to me.
Whoops. Can you still hear me and see me,
I can, yeah.
Phaedra?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
All right. Well,
Can you see me?
yeah. Yes, I can see you and I can hear you. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I had to pull out a piece of equipment that was not working because I think that's what might be the reason why I'm glitching. But so,
No, we're glitching. We're still glitching.
I was looking through your artwork. Oh, no. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Okay, can you hear me? Everything looks like I can see you blinking and everything is good.
I'm blinking a Morse code.
No.
No.
Okay, try again.
I can see you and hear you.
Okay.
I'm blinking.
I'm blinking. Yay. I don't know what's going on. Sometimes I wonder if it's my little house elf, aka Juan, down in the basement, like also being on the internet at the same time doing something. But I was like,
these things are going on in my home as well, so possibly. But
what is it? Okay, back to my question while you can hear me. The thing is that even though that I might be having glitchiness on my side, you might be still streaming on your side to Facebook. So like, we'll just continue on with everything.
sure.
So I was looking through your artwork and like, so like you have like you could collage anything.
I could, yeah.
Wow. Like you could collage anything that you wanted, but you have a very specific look that you are creating, which like when I think about like you saying that you're having these like eureka moments, like you must spend hours with books.
Yeah. I
Like,
do. I spend a lot of time. So usually that process starts with, I have my books. I have books that are just compendiums of imagery. But when it comes to old encyclopedias, magazines, old vintage children's books, I tend to go through them very rapidly, and like a stack of magazines, and I'll just go through it. The image has to pop out at me, and then I'll rip it up, set it to the side, and I'll just keep going through it, ripping as I go through. I don't look, what could I use that for? What, it's a very spur of the moment, very quick process when I go through it. And then they get recycled or moved on to someone else who wants to go through, because there's still imagery left inside of them, for other collage artists. And Then I have those images, which I'll put in a bin, similar, just the bigger ones of this. This happens to be near my 31 Nights of Halloween. This is a bin just of black and white little scraps of things. I've got snakes and all sorts of things and spiders, little things. So I'll cut things and create different little treasure troves of pre-cut items that I can, it's like a jigsaw puzzle, right? I've got my own jigsaw puzzle here. I find a background I want to work with, and I'll either go through the paper or dig through, and several of those color, different black and white, and then color, photography, drawing, different.
So do you organize them like by, like how is your organization system? Because if you have thousands and thousands of images, like I'm confused.
Yeah, it's they're organized where they're contained. I have them contained, but like this one I was recently doing, and I just have like a little old birch box, and then I have different things inside of it. Leaf and snake, little snack. I love my snacks. Flowers. It's hard to see. But I just spent an afternoon cutting, maybe an hour, and just cutting things out and just drop them in this box. And we have, in the lid, I probably have black and white. So they're contained where they're not, I have to get them back. I have to pick them up, because in order for me to get crazy and create, I have to start with a clean surface. That'll be a desk, that'll be 4 desks, that'll be the floor. A lot of I usually do my small ones like these little,
Love them.
these smaller little blocks. I'll do them on a desk, sitting at a desk, but my larger works, like large being like 18 by 24, I will sit on the floor, and sometimes I have 4 of them, or smaller sizes, 12 by 12. I might have 6 of them laid out at a time, different size, varying sizes, but I make a chaos mess all over the floor, and then it's spreading out the entire circumference around me, and then before you know it, I'm sitting in this seemingly small area where I get up to stretch, and I'm like, that's where I was sitting, what have I done? And it's just kind of funny, and then it'll stay messy like that for a while I'm in these pieces, because my mind is there, and it can make a huge mess. And then when those are said and done, or when I hit a wall, I pick everything back up, and the papers go in different bins, or it has to be picked up again before I can make another mess. If I hit a wall or finish them, or what do I create next? So it's kind of a strange thing for me. I want to make the mess, but I can't start there.
So cutting
You're all
of how you cut, because like I made an assumption, was asking you, I do not know what's happening. Last week and this week is just no good.
I'm sorry.
Hold on. Okay. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Phaedra?
Yes.
Okay. So talk about how, like, I made the assumption that you're cutting everything with an X-Acto knife, because how could you get into all of those little pieces with anything else? And you correct. So please explain how you're doing it.
I cut with scissors. I use scissors. to get into everything, I use the Cutter Bee. They're like a Cutter Bee craft scissors you can get at Michael's. I think Target had them for a while. I tried with an X-Acto knife, but because paper, especially vintage paper, the consistencies are so different the way that the paper is made. And if it's very thin, even like Newsweek, that for some, however the paper is made, it'll rip. And when I'm working with a vintage image, and that's another reason why I really like doing the analog collage. Like when I find that little piece, it's very unique, and I can use this very unique thing that I have found in a collage. And I think that's why I do label them original art collages, that they're, I'm not going to replicate them or duplicate it, because I like finding those things. So I don't want to rip them and destroy them in the process of using them, especially when I'm excited to find something. And scissors, when you keep them sharp, they really work so much better for me. I do use a razor blade when I cut like the origami papers that I wrap the collages with, that I wrap the boards with. I always put, I'll use this again, I put like an origami paper around the side, and then I have to cut it off.
Sorry. Okay.
Dog doesn't like it.
They're walking by, but I'm really sorry about all of these hiccups today, Phaedra. This is super frustrating. So one thing that I wanted to talk to you about with like your own artwork is that, like, what I was trying to get at before is that you could collage anything, but like you have specific themes and inspirations that you go to. Like, we're going to look at your artwork in just a couple minutes, but can you talk about, like, when you're talking about, like, I'm looking for something, I'm trying to have this eureka moment, like, you are creating these stories, like you have very specific characters that you use in a lot of your collages that you get seen like over and over and over again. First off, everything is a little eerie.
Yes.
That you make. There's a lot of things that are very beautiful, but they also they're like something's not wrong. And actually, I don't know if you know this, but like a long time ago, I bought a piece of artwork from you before I met you. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. So like, talk to me about the dream world. Like, what are you looking for to create these scenes?
It's, it's really strange. It's I do meditate with a lot of my pieces, especially the ones that I've been making recently, the ones that I call my goddesses. And it's not a trance, that would be ridiculous, but when I do get into the flow, it's I'm with the subject. When I'm trying to find what pieces would go along with her, or certain landscapes, what would go along with them. And I don't have any of my larger works here. They're all at Wild Hair Salon and Gallery, hanging on the walls and looking fabulous there, I think. They super fit, that's for sure. But they had different backgrounds and elements. Like there's these elements that I need to create a story. So as I'm going through the papers, like I'm not really seeing what I'm looking at. I mean, I am. It just sounds crazy. But like when I see it, I know it, and I know that's a part of the story, and I know it fits. And that's really the fun of doing my collage this analog way, that and it's hard to explain.
Well, it's hard for me to pinpoint because, yeah, this is going to sound really bad, but I don't see a lot of other collage artists that are as strong as you.
Thank you.
I mean, that's, and I realize that like saying that is a very like bold statement, but like there's definitely so much there that like either you have been doing this since the dawn of time and are actually a secret like scholar librarian of images that like, you know, but like there's something that you're finding these two and marrying them together to create this space. So
And that's
like,
like, I love the dream world, and I love dreams. Since I was a child, and maybe I didn't thoroughly answer the question before, and I'm camera shy, I'm nervous, everyone. I ramble. And since I was a child and I wanted to know, how do I capture my dreams? I wish I could draw what I had dreamed, and I'd sit down with, pencil, paper, crayons, and paper. I mean, my dreams have been vivid since I was very young, and I suffered from night terrors and nightmares. I always had these nightmare dreams, these nightmare escapes. And how do I make that? And I think once I finally realized my drawing is amateur at best, or painting, and maybe I just haven't taken the time to learn about that skill and immerse myself in that. But when I found out that through collage I could create, and I've had people tell me at shows, this reminds me of a dream I had. This reminds me of a bad experience when this was happening. And, for being able to not make it, it's, it definitely doesn't look creepy, but it's that element, this feeling that something's about to happen, or what's really going on here. And I think, and some of my pieces can be just totally ridiculous and silly, and that much is obvious, but just kind of that feeling, and I'm trying to convey that when I'm making a larger work, that and I just that broached into obviously I had the dictionary of dreams, the Time Life books, Dreams and Dreaming. That was my favorite. And then there was the show Max Headroom, that was on, and I don't remember a whole lot about it. I remember I would watch it when I was young, but there was one when dreams could be recorded on, it was probably VHS. or in the even bigger ones, I don't remember, but that just blew my mind, and I still to this day like wish that technology was available to. Our dreams are so surreal, and I think, that is why like surrealism was born, and through artists envisioning these dreamscapes, and these things are our subconscious mind, right? When you look at a dream book, X means Y, and these things, right? So that's when I'm going through and working on a collage, why I'm looking for elements of the dream world to create a story. Doors, I use a lot of doors, portals, doors and trees. That was a theme when I was young. I would dream I was in a forest, and then a door would appear on a tree, and open. Always going through doorways.
so I'm going to share my screen just to give people an idea of what we're talking about, because I realized maybe I should have had like a visual to go along with everything too. Here, hold on.
Okay.
So, well, I want you to talk about some of them, but I'm trying to find something specific that I want to like show. So just one second.
Mm-hmm.
Because like of the way that you're talking about everything, like, like, okay, like something like this, like this is like, and I realize that, like, and I'm just picking out of like the hat of like all of this, like the way that you're talking about like the dreamscape, and like how everything is kind of just a little off, but there's also like this disconnect, like with like there's something eerie going on. Like
Mhm.
and like many of your pieces, like I get that where it's just it's a little uncanny, like everything is just so. Like maybe some of this is like I'm the observer, like how you have that distant feel like when you're dreaming and stuff, like where you're like, I'm here and I exist, but like there's definitely like, you know, that little like the glitch in the matrix kind of feel, like you're like, that's something's not right. And like
Sure.
like the more and more that I go through here, I think that like when you know, specifically like something like this one, I kept thinking about like those old retro postcards that are like, you know, visit Niagara Falls or something, you know. I'm personally picking this one because they're obviously looking off to the side, but like your destination is like Phaedra's artwork. Like this is a location that we can go to and like be a part of it and walk through it. And like these are the people in it. And like I don't know if you're familiar with the book Welcome to Night Vale. Like if you've
Mm-mm.
ever heard of it. And
No.
I get like Welcome to Night Vale feelings, which I believe it was a podcast first before. And the idea is that like everything's a little off. It's almost like this nightmare, hellish landscape, but like people are acting like it's normal. Like, oh, you know, my teenage boy is like, you know, I don't want to super spoiler it, but like is actually like a hideous monster. But we don't because he's just,
Right, right.
you know what I mean? Like, and everything's normal in this world. And
Sure. With these pieces, like a lot of these are my mini collages that come on like a small board. And I think people are surprised when they find out it's like an object, it's a thing, and it's not just paper. And so I've been doing a lot of these, and what I try to do with them is just create something fun, macabre, whimsical, um, but like a piece of the Twilight Zone.
yeah,
And right, Twilight Zone, Outer Limits. So like where you're getting like a snippet, like a screen grab from one of those things, and um, it's they're gonna throw down. It's a fighting game, and uh, you know, when I'm going down, I used to make large, you know, the larger work, and people said to me, "This is a lot. There's a lot going on. I can't afford this. I wish I could afford this," or "I don't have the wall space for something like that." So I was showing my artwork, and I thought, well, for vending, for being at a craft fair, art world, or for people who don't have the wall space or the pocketbook to, you know, accommodate for, you know, what I was providing, I decided, how do I scale it down, and how do I make something fun where people can take what I do and take it home with them. And I won't, like, of this, I won't make a print of it. Some people said you could just make prints of that and apply it to the block. And my response to the first person who said that was like, well, then I'd be like a corporation, and corporations suck. So I want it to be original, and maybe I'll find the similar gown again, but I'll use something different on that gown or the eye. You know, I do stumble across things again, and I'll use them, or make things that are similarly themed. Um, but these, you know, they're small, they're inexpensive, and they're just a thing, and decor. So people will cluster them on the wall, they'll collect them, and I have collectors that will only buy black and white, or will only buy mushrooms, or what do you have that's space themed this time around? And it's hard. We haven't been able to do that this year, of, you know, having this multitude of little mini pieces. And but you know, they can be clustered on the wall, hung on the wall in little spots, or they like just their little standalone. You could put them on a bookshelf, a wall shelf, and, you know. So like I made fine art into a piece of decor that you know, that you can display it however you like.
Which, okay, I think that there's a lot of artists when we are artists, we have so much we want to say. You know what I mean? Like we have, we're very sensitive to like what needs to be communicated, like with our art. That's why we make art all the time. And like, I am also guilty of this. I have giant paintings that exist that I ended up, for a few years with a house full of giant paintings. Mine. And
Why do you think mine are a wild hair?
and like I have friends who like my artwork is decorating their homes because I was ruining my artwork by like trying to keep them in closets and stuff because I had so
Mm,
much giant artwork. And then
yeah.
happens when you start showing artwork and you talk to people and they're like, "Wow, I really like your stuff, but I can't afford it." Or, "Wow, I really like your stuff, but like, most people don't have a giant like even if you look around here, I got windows, I got a coffin and, like all other types of things. There's not space for
You
paintings.
should.
You know what I mean? Like that's and you don't think about it where it's like when you have something that is a little bit smaller, like you see things that exist out there and it's like I'm sure all of us like we all one day when we win the lottery and we have a giant palace, like we're just gonna have giant paintings like old like Victorian salon art that will just be all over our homes. But
Hmm.
the reality is that most people who appreciate art like don't always have the space to show
It's true. Hmm.
and I don't think that like I don't feel like everyone really knows that until you start showing your artwork and you talk to your audience.
And which I love to do, and craving. I'm craving to talk to the art audience. Like with these minis, I'll have them all, you know, laid out on a table. And it's so fun when people realize, oh, I can pick them up. They're not fragile. Like pick them up, move them around, pick out your favorites and, you know, line them up. And everybody has a different favorite. And I like looking at the person who's choosing and seeing, I like this one, I like that one. And there's something like just so fun about it. It really makes it, um, I don't know if immersive experience is the right word, but for me, it does feel like an immersion because I make it for people. I'm inspired by dreams and psyches, and that's the human experience. I mean, we all rest and we all go to this, you know, this kind of land of symbolism where things aren't quite right, and you wake up and you wonder, now why did that happen? Why did I go there? And that, you know, it's just fun to me because people will pull, you know, thoughts and feelings and ideas from the little pieces. So while I at first felt like a sellout for creating, oh well, it was just so small, I think a lot of thought goes into all of these as well. And um they I don't think it makes them any less special, especially when viewing them as a whole. And I feel pretty proud of that. That
Like with even a small piece has merit. So I don't think it's the size of a piece that like matters. I mean, that's I think like I think people just want them, like there's so much in these that like you want it so bad. And it's like there's also like your composition is extremely strong. Your color palettes are really strong. I mean, like when you just showed me that box of everything black and white, like I was like, huh, yeah, that makes sense. Like, of course it does, because like you're very sensitive to like like I just tried to scroll on my table. Okay, so even in the picture that I have up here, like this woman is obviously in a muted, like kind of like this weird contrast of like warms and purples and stuff, and then you have like this like red skull, you know?
mhm.
I mean, with this muted background, so she pops forward and everything like kind of pushes backwards. And it's like That's not random. That's
Oh.
right there. Like, I can see that, like, you are probably sitting there pushing all the pieces around, like, I don't know, like one of those crime solving, where the red line is going like all over the place. Like,
Oh,
oh,
I could put a million different heads on a person. I love the transmogrification of animal heads on women. Obviously, I put skulls. If I find a skull, I'm going to use it. Not dumb. And but things move around, but they have to fit, and the color has to fit, and snack.
and the humor aspect of this too. Like, I think that people don't always like think about that, like art should have, that wittiness of completely this. Oh my God, I'm in love with this one. I don't know if I've seen this one before. Oh no, Phaedra.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you could go through your Instagram like 4 or 5 times and see new things. And it would just be, God, I love it so much.
Thank you.
And I mean, I realize that that's not like, you know, like even this, like here's that little snake. Like, what is this? Is this like, um, her vanity, like staring in the mirror, like that snake is gonna get you? Is he hanging out like, hey, I'm just a friend. You look great, girl. Like, like,
Right. Mm-hmm.
like, is she the snake? Whoops.
Or it's just a little surprise.
But again, like, I'm still like really blown away about the scissors. I don't know why, but like,
It's easy for me. I draw with them, and I see the sight lines of the point A to point B, and it makes it, I don't know, it makes it easy to cut that way. Another thing that makes it easy is that I just let the scraps fall where they may. I used to be so concerned about keeping them contained, but I can cut and I'll let them fall on my lap, and they'll be stuck all over my shirt and all over the floor. But it's easy to clean up later, and it makes it easy to just get in. And like on this one with this little round up on the top left, the little round floral, I had to cut that into maybe 6 different pieces and then glue it back together just to keep the integrity of the paper as I cut, so I didn't rip it, and so I kind of tailor it back together in the way it was supposed to be.
specifically, this piece was for Safe Word,
Mm-hmm.
which was the erotic art show. And so when you have a theme, instead of just being like, my dreamscape is everything that I have, and you have to narrow it down, does like that thought process become different than like how you normally work?
You mean when I had this theme for Safe Word?
Yeah, because then you're looking for specific things. Like, or do you have it like categorized? Like, I feel like it's like, like weirdly, I know that I have probably a woman in a corset in 4 boxes somewhere to the left.
Yeah, that happens. There was also a nude woman in a see-through plastic kind of suit with a superhero cape. She almost got put into play. We might see her at the next Safe Word show. But I have these certain images because when I go through, it's kind of like sometimes I kind of assault myself with images and get tired because I'll be looking through so many, but I see them again and again and again sometimes. And at the beginning of the pandemic lockdown, I actually went through everything I had and threw about half of it away.
Why?
I did that, but I had this feeling like I've had these forever, and they no longer felt precious to me anymore. And it was like, I've had this for X amount of years if I'm not using it yet. So I think I had maybe a different vision. I don't like to use anything that is highly recognizable. Certain models, I've used actresses' bodies a ton, like Scarlett Johansson or Jennifer, the Hunger Games woman, the young woman. But I've used their bodies recently in gowns, but I transmogrified them, so animal heads, and but I don't want anything to be like, oh, that's Salvador Dali, like, with the warped clock draped over. I don't know. Anything, which I could, and I could make it humorous, but I just try to shy away from that now. And I think I cleared out a lot of those type of images that I was hanging on to. That would be, I mean, you could look at this and pieced all together, it's not recognizable. But to answer your question, I find a subject, and I knew I had this, so I think I rounded up all of the things, like what subject could I build around, and then that kind of created the piece. Like, look at this corset. Oh yes, of course it means like this giant over the top zipper, but that just looks ridiculous on its own. These snakes like slithering in, and then there's a bee on her lips. Safe word. So do you mumble the safe word? Are you going to be stung? It was just, I just wanted to create this symbolism that was sexy, but then at the same time powerful. And, and I was told you could really go over the top with this. And, and I could have been as exotic as I wanted to be with it. But for me at the time, it was really, there was something coy about the main subject in the corset that that really made me want to put, even the flowers kind of on the lower left side. I mean, they look like breasts. They look like breasts with little nipples. How can I not put them in there? Like, right? We've got them covered, but at the same time, that's one of my little nests that I
Oh no, I exited out of it. No. Okay. There it is. Sorry, I went the wrong way. My favorite is always that snake through the zipper.
Yeah.
My goodness. My goodness.
Yes. Yeah, which I actually, I had to cut a little part of the zipper to get it to go in because I wasn't going to loop it through. And just, when it fits, and that's the thing. Like the way, the corset has cinched her waist, and the way the snake kind of sits on the waist, and I love it.
Oh, there's you surrounded.
That's where I sat, sitting on that pillow, probably drinking some beer and looking like I have all these. I'm gonna make some goddesses and finding animal heads and bodies, and just spreading everything out around me. And it started as a clear surface on the floor, and it just, and it got worse from there, I'll tell you.
So one thing I didn't ask is, how do you glue them, and what kind of glue?
I use Mod Podge, and I know that's looked down upon.
Why?
It's been looked at, oh, it's Mod Podge. It's as one lady told me at Otherworldly, maybe 6 Otherworlds ago, 5, decoupage is dead, darling. So that was, just like I had to laugh, but I had used Liquitex, the acrylic medium, but it saturates the paper too much when I'm gluing it down, and Mod Podge gives just enough. It adheres everything perfectly. It's not like a glue stick, or it adheres everything as it needs to be. And then I do go over it with a Liquitex acrylic varnish to lock everything in place and keep it UV protected, and so that you can pick it up, right? You can pick it up and there's all these little like fine wispy things, but like it's locked in, and no matter what you do to it, it's protected. So
like, I'm only thinking of this from a personal standpoint since I've never done it before. And sorry about my dog.
it's okay.
So like, how often does it not work? How often do you cut the wrong way? How often does because like I feel like everything that you have, like I'm like, that's so successful. That's so successful. Like everything about that, like that makes sense. That's so successful. Like the inspiration makes sense. Like the way of moving to a smaller object makes sense. Like all of that makes sense. Tell me about how it doesn't work.
Sometimes the paper tears. When ungluing like the body of a woman or any body part, and I don't know, is this PG? Because when I was doing the safe word, I mean, I don't know, but when I was doing the safe word, when I was gluing that woman down in her arms and I was just like, oh, fuck, the whole time. One little wrinkle on the paper of a woman's skin, and it like, it's done. It's done. And it's happened before. And when that happens, it's like, cover it with a butterfly or a moth or a snake. We've got to slap a Band-Aid on it as quickly as I can. And because I feel like when that happens to me, I feel like I get hurt. Like, oh no, because I could have an entire something glued down, and I don't want to wreck or wrinkle or tear any of the pieces that I'm working with. But Mod Podge does work wonderfully for it, and I use for like teeny tiny things. I have these, they're called like the cutter bee. I don't know if you can see on my neck, tweezers. That when you pinch them, they open up, and when they're closed, they're closed. So I use them a lot to cut. Like in this little corner, I'll hold the flower and then I can cut around it. And then when I'm gluing, I'll use the point, and then I can lay it down flat and brush it. I use watercolor brushes, which kind of sucks because they're expensive and they get coated with glue. I don't know if you can see that, but then I can lay it down and brush it and then place it where I need to place it. Or like glue for the larger things, like little by little, I'll bring it up and glue certain points of it. But yeah, I don't like when things are damaged. That's 2020 for you right there.
Just all the things not working.
It's Mother Nature. She's yeah, that was one of my first pieces that I made when we had the lockdown. That just kind of
like all of that, like all the colors, like the golds of like, I mean, even just to match like all the yellow from top to bottom, like you have like a gradient of like, the goldish yellow up at the top, and then it gets brighter and greener at the bottom with the green in the background, and then the red at the bottom. And like everything is like you could just stare for hours, like of course, but like it's just like I don't know why, but I'm like, I could never ever do this in my life. Like,
you could.
no. Like, I feel like I would get really frustrated, and like I would sit there for a while and I would be like, yeah, this is okay, this is okay, this is okay. And then I would rip the whole box and go throw it in the fire pit in the backyard.
and it's just searching, and it's fine, and collecting, and the fact that I have it, I mean, you wouldn't be able to sit down and say, oh, like I want to make this theme, and everything I do, I find the subject, and everything gets worked around the subject. So this one was the gown, and sometimes when I'm looking, I'm looking just for a particular color or a color feel, and it'll be like a deck of cards. Everything gets tossed to the side, but then I'll throw these colors out and pull them out, and then go back and look for the symbolism, and then maybe I'll find one or two pieces, and then dive right back in again to look. But I don't keep any of my images. I have backgrounds. Backgrounds are in their own special cases. Things I've cut out are in their own special cases: black and white, color, drawing, photography. So those are all separated into 4 different things. But the other pieces that I have, I like to shuffle them, because a lot of the times it's like Bob Ross says, a happy accident, and something just might be laying next to something else, and it'll click. They're perfect, and they make the perfect match. And there are a lot of pieces that are actually in the works right now. I would say I have about 27 pieces. I just haven't found all the right elements for to sit down with them and just really dig for that. And during October, I've been doing the 31 Nights of Halloween, where I just do the black and white on the brown paper and post one a day. And so kind of took some time to do that. And that's kind of stressful in and of itself too, if I'm not finding something that I like or that matches.
No, always support your 31 days of Drawloweens.
Yes.
Hard to do. I'm a week behind, and I was gonna do it all today, and I was like, I'm gonna do it tomorrow.
I'm so bad at following prompts, and I can't really do Inktober because I'm not, and that's why I started doing that. These were originally woodcuts or ink drawing, whatever. So they're kind of black and white, and then I thought I can do this every night, and inspired by Nicholas Harper. Happy birthday! It's his birthday today.
I'm gonna go up to some of them. It's these ones, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just fun, silly. They're in a costume. How funny he is.
There's what is it? The spider clown. Yeah, and then you have like a bunch of these spider people.
Yeah. Yeah, they're fun. They're it's fun to do because my usual thing is to work with color. It's, I don't know.
Yeah, like I get like super drawn in. I'm like, what's that? What's that? What's that? What's that? Like,
I know. And so when people stand at my table and they're trying, like, I need to pick one, and it's taken people a long time to pick one. Because they think that they found one that they like, and then they see something completely different that they hadn't quite seen.
I love this one. Oh, that is very 2020.
Yeah. Just running around, all tentacles.
So you also started during the pandemic, and I realized, wow, see, this is what happens is that, Phaedra, we have like 5 minutes left.
No, okay. We didn't even look at any of the large ones. Funny.
Like, and here's the thing, that like you also just made your own Etsy store, which this is your first time doing it, right?
Yeah. It was I think it was like the last couple of days of September, I launched my Etsy shop. And that, it took It took a couple weeks, and it still needs a little bit of love. Not everything has the photographs, right? They say the more photographs you have of it from different angles. I need to do more of that, especially with these 31 Nights of Halloween pieces, and just learning how to photograph my work. And I don't think I have it quite nailed yet, but I try a little more every day.
But you're saying like a pretty good return now, right? I mean, since you put it up and everything's been happening, have you been getting in a lot of hits?
I think so. Yeah, I would say that I feel like I've been successful at it, and I feel like I have enough of a fan base that that people do want to buy it. And I think if I was just first starting out, maybe when I was first starting out with collage, probably would have heard the crickets chirp, and it's not, it's not, how do I put it? Like, it's not paying the bills. It's not like a full-time job at this point, but it was amazing to start this up, and I think I've sold, of everything I've put up, I've sold a third of it, and that feels successful to me. Yeah, and so far I just put up the mini things and the small things, and I'm going to get to the 6x12. I don't know if I've even shown these, but like I love this size, this perfect ruler size with the, and like I have my ladies and the color palettes, and but I'm gonna put these up soon on there. It's just, little by little, and obviously I one of the things of starting an Etsy shop, packaging. I can't just, before I'd tell people PayPal me and I'll ship it, and I'd find some computer part box or something, a makeshift package. And so I actually had to think, well, what would fit if, what would one of these go in? What would 3 of these go in? What accommodates this size or that size? But I just got the size that I think will accommodate my 6x12 pieces. So I don't want to have something available for sale if I don't have the proper professional packaging. And it's, so far I've only sold locally, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Bloomington, like around the area. Like people have seen me before, and people from the area. So I think that would kind of be the next thing. And, people from other states were, purchasing. And it's been fun though, the entire process of it, and learning something new, which is important.
Isn't it like, I feel like so many artists I know that are like, and I'm included. It's like, yeah, I need to update my website. Yeah, I need like that. It's always one of those check marks that you're like, yes, I didn't order new business cards. I am the worst artist in the world. Like, and to even just like I put my Etsy shop up. That's like a huge gold star. Get it? Like
huge. And for everybody who's thinking of doing it and potentially doing it, Etsy makes it really easy. And I've heard other artists say, and I've talked about it, and several other artists, how they feel about that platform. And, they did increase their fees, or people feel buried, or, there's all these pros and cons to it. But for me, one of the biggest pros is that they've really got a streamlined service to get started, which is even easier than creating your own website with the financial platform, I thought. Whereas first, and I wrote down the list of, okay, well, I need photographs, and I need a description, and I need XYZ. But once I started doing it all, it's like, oh, I just need to fill this out quick. Or this day, I'm going to focus on this aspect. And for my 31 Nights of Halloween pieces, I didn't even put a description. yet, but I mean, it'll happen. And that's the beauty of it, that it doesn't have to happen
I think
right away. And it's kind
you
of
gotta
a
get
cookie
that
cutter.
big pump of like, just get it, right?
Just
Like,
get it, just
get
do it. And like they lay it all out for you, and it couldn't be easier. And you know, they do take their cut, but it's, you know, for now and for what I'm doing and for what I'm seeking to do, it's working for me, I guess, until it doesn't. I don't know. So
for the Otherworldly Arts Collective during the pandemic is also selling on artists' behalf, like through Etsy. We just started with like a
nice.
handful of artists. So if anybody else out there just wants to try it with us, we just wanted to make sure because, you know, we have a lot of artists that they don't have the time and they, you know, it is a lot of work or it's not feasible for you for certain reasons that like you can try it through us. Like we're already an established business
Everybody should.
and we can just push it over there and that's all Jackie Platt. So all hail Jackie
Right.
Platt doing it because it was not me. I
And
was like, no,
I think everybody, the merchandise tables, you know, for the shows every year and get bigger and bigger. You know, there's so much merch that everybody has, prints and pendants and horns and all of the things that and people love that little takeaway for Gods and Monsters, the horror, or, you know, the Unicorn Art Show, and just the little things. I think everybody should think about doing that with you and submitting
I hope
those
they
things.
and,
And
okay.
because everything's virtual now, so
And you know, the thing is that let's say that I was naive to think that this was going to end. So let's just like go with the fact that like maybe the real conversation that we have is that we adapt and we start thinking about better ways of just being in this situation instead of like being like, oh, the good old days of, you know, this was working. And it's like, well, that worked, but there's also possibilities like, look at you, you made an Etsy store. There was a problem. You created a solution. You made an Etsy store for yourself.
I
Like
mean, I also played like 450 hours of Animal Crossing. There was that too.
oh, I've been watching so many horror movies. It's been great. I have like wallpaper theories right now about like women in horror movie where I'm like, does every lady need to have some wallpaper up in this? I was like, dude, wallpaper is terrible. Has anybody had to take
It's not. I wish I had wallpaper.
no, no.
I
But
had wallpaper at all. But I just have to say, I really miss when it comes to my art. I mean, I think it's an introverted extrovert, or the other way around. And I like to pull into myself, and I do my work, and I don't go anywhere. And every now and then, you know, I go to a great art show, great after party. I have, you know, surrounded by people and having conversations. And I'm kind of like, I don't stick with one people. I like person, group of people. I like going around the room. I like talking to different people. I like spying on people, watching people across the room. And I think that's an interest in like psychology and human nature. And it's when I immerse myself in those situations and I go home and I'm like, this is and work on art and I'm inspired. This is from the conversation I had last night, or this came about because of the couple that was arguing in the corner, and you know, just kind of what I saw. So while I'm able to like FaceTime with friends and have like art meetups with friends, there's something about that energy, that feeling in a room when you're, you know, staying, you know, after the gallery is closed and having, you know, philosophical or political conversations. And I miss it. I miss it so much. And
you will do it when it's when we're safe, you know.
absolutely, absolutely. And I'm gonna just drink it up with a straw. And that's where I'll be. And yeah.
It'll be fabulous. Like there's like even like last week with Nathaniel, I was like, dude, I miss you.
Mhm.
Miss you, Phaedra. Miss you.
I miss you. It's so true. But I'm happy. Like, I still feel like happy to see you and talk to you now as I do with other people. And it's relegating that to a certain part of my mind where this is okay and this has to be okay. And, while sometimes I dip into the fear, I mean, my mind always has a penchant for the dark thoughts. Like, when it began to snow the other day, and I'm like, this is beautiful and picturesque, and that blanket covering everything, and there were so many people, and if you were one of them that said, I'm not ready, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. And then there was this dark little part of my mind, and it's like, but we should be ready for climate change. Like I get
Warning.
I get very dark, very, and I don't know. But and then I just go back to the positive outlook of things. Like, we're not headed into the next ice age yet. But sorry about my thing.
Oh, is it? But
I
we're
got
gonna.
a message from my brother.
Oh, hi, brother. Oh, sorry, Jaxie. But we're gonna have to wrap it up anyways because we're trying to keep it to the hour so that we can upload it to other places, which this will be uploaded to YouTube, just so you know, after this is done. So, Phaedra, thank you so much for doing this with us. This is
Yes, thank you for having me.
thank you for being my spooky Halloween artist.
Halloween. Yes.
Okay. Well, you have a wonderful night, and I will see you later, lady.
All right. Bye.